Hi there. I'm Greg Hessel from ReGeneration Resources, and I've spent the last 25 years helping people and teams get unstuck. And a huge barrier to getting people unstuck is their differing perceptions. And as I've been thinking about this topic, I think there are four different levels of misperception. Sometimes people perceive what's happening right now differently. Secondly, in conflict, when people start talking about what happened, what went down, who did what to whom, they often get stuck. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Thirdly, people have different perceptions about what should happen. And fourthly, people have different perceptions about what always or never happens. These are the deep narratives that are embedded in us about how life is and how people think about us and treat us. In their best-selling book, Difficult Conversations, Sheila Heen, Bruce Patton, and Doug Stone talk about three conversations that are embedded in any conflict resolution conversation. First is the what happened conversation. Second is the feelings conversation. How do I feel about what happened? And are those feelings on the table or under the table? And third is the identity conversation. What does this say about me? So, looking at the what happened conversation, we have this myth, this belief that if I just tell the other person I'm in conflict with my facts, if I tell them how I experienced something, then they're going to listen intently and they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I should have never done that. Thank you so much for telling me. It'll never happen again." But from our experience, we know that that rarely happens. And that rarely happens because as people experience reality, they notice different things, they emphasize different things, and whatever they notice and emphasize, they interpret those things differently. So there's three things going on. People are paying attention to different things, they're emphasizing different things, and their interpretation is different. In the Difficult Conversations book, Heen, Patton, and Stone talk about three crippling assumptions that we make. First, there's the truth assumption. I'm right and they're wrong. There's only one way to see the world, and it's my way. As an example, in the picture on this slide, some people see a young woman and others see an old woman. The young woman's chin is the old woman's nose. Both are happening. Many things are happening at once. Second is the intention invention. Not only am I right, but they have bad intent. And third is the blame game. It's their fault. And so all three of these are places that increase our stuckness. And so what can we do about it? First, we just need to accept the fact that we all see the world differently. And the more we talk about the past, frequently the worse it's going to get. And it's counterintuitive because we think we have to agree on the past, but rarely we never do. Solutions are always in the future, facts are always in the past. And so moving from facts to solutions, from the past to the future, allows a problem-solving conversation to happen. Secondly, we need to accept multiple perspectives. The other person noticing and emphasizing different things does not make them wrong, nor does it make you wrong. Many things are happening at once, and so we need to think both and rather than either or. One example of this that I always come back to is that when I was in my master's program in organizational development, the very first class, our cohort had to choose a volunteer for something. And so one man raised his hand to volunteer, and other people raised their hand to discuss who we should choose. The man who volunteered was the only African American guy in the class. And as the conversation went on, he got more and more agitated. And he said, "Clearly, there's racism going on here. You're uncomfortable with me." And other people said, "No, no, 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 that's not what's going on. What's going on is that Greg raised his hand to say something, and it's inclusion. We want to hear what Greg has to say." And we had this argument then as if only one of those things could happen at once. But really, there's many things going on at once. And in hindsight, I think, yeah, inclusion's good. And there was probably some racism going on at that moment. Third, avoid the intention invention. Intent is usually not knowable. Don't assume bad intent. The more you can focus on impact rather than intent, the better off you'll be. And fourth, and maybe most importantly, one of the reasons that talking about what happened usually doesn't help is that usually our facts or perceptions as to what happened imply some kind of blame. And the other parties frequently do then get defensive. And so shifting from a blame focus, whose fault is it, to mutual contribution. Usually, both parties contribute something. It's rare that any conflict is 100% one person's fault. And if we can think about contribution rather than blame, it's a little bit safer to talk about the past, and people are less likely to get defensive. So accept differences, focus on the future, avoid the intention invention, and think about mutual contribution. These are four strategies that I use to get people unstuck when they're talking about what happened. I hope this helps. I'll have another video for you real soon about our different beliefs about what should happen. Thanks.